a couple weeks ago, like weekend before this past one, I was working on a student film actually for some Cape Fear Community College film students, and super professional, college kids, but very, professional. And there's the actors were all, fairly decent, I guess. You know what I mean? And where the fuck was I going with this? God damn it. Student film. Oh, but content. One of the actresses was a student, and in one of her productions, she was saying that after they had shot a day, that back at school, kids had complained to like the professors and even gone above them to like the, department head or something about some sort of content of this student film, which it wasn't like, from what she said, it didn't seem like it was anything really like, and all that. I just feel like there's a weird.
Do you remember anything about the subject matter? Like what they said it was? It was.
It had something to do with a girl who had been sexually assaulted.
Okay.
But that's not, I don't think that none of that's shown. It's just like, that's part of the character. I feel like
right.
Or something like that. And I don't know if it was the character that did hurt her, but like apparently like how the story plays out, she was saying that the protagonist the one who was assaulted or whatever, she or he doesn't say win or whatever. They kind of like go on, and the person who I think did assault them like doesn't get their comeuppance, right?
Right.
And that was too much for like some of these people involved. These kids, they're young, right?
Yeah.
And I think like
that's a shame for sure.
Of course.
Well, it's like, because of course, like we have that almost like deeply biological moral reaction to something like that. Like, okay, a sexual assault victim, and then the sexual assaulter, like, yes, we all want that assaulter to have the comeuppance, but to tell a story that doesn't give you what you want, that's provocative art. And
exactly.
And like, that's,
so she was telling me how she was going to rewrite it and shit. And I was like, no, fuck that, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And I don't, you're not, who am I? I won't call somebody, say if somebody says is an artist, they're doing their art, I'm not going to judge them, but I'll judge them, but I won't, make any claims about that somebody being an artist or not, or whatever. It's like being an alcoholic. And, but to put those weird limitations and like,
to
like, man, too bad you weren't born in the Soviet Union or something.
Right. Like, I think it's important to understand the rules, quote unquote, of creativity. Like, that's what I feel like I learned in the creative writing classes, what people in their different opinions think the rules are.
Yeah.
What are like the generally agreed upon rules? But then just knowing that, to know how you can subvert them. Not like, no, I want to learn them so I can follow them. It's, I want to learn them so I can mimic following them to get, get some trust and attention at first, and then I'll pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah, of course.
And it's kind of like the main archetypal story is there's a hero, there's an antagonist, and then the hero goes to struggle and then wins at the end. And it's interesting to see those, most movies have that arc. But it's interesting, and it should be allowed for movies to subvert that arc, where it's like hero, the protagonist and antagonist, actually it's not that clear. They're very complex characters where you could view either one of them as pro or anti, antagonist there. And or it's like there's a clear hero, clear antagonist, but the hero loses and dies and the antagonist wins. It's like, it's a shame that people
the hero
get put
dying, once achieving their goal. That's like the classic. Who is the fucking Greek, philosopher, writer said that? Was it Sophocles? I forget.
Lao Tzu?
Yeah. He was a warrior poet. No, if it said that, the most satisfying outcome for an audience was that, where the hero sacrifices himself. I mean, it's a fucking story. It's like, it's an everything. It's a, Christ story. But it's like a child sacrifice / sacrificing yourself for other story. But,
right.
That was like the ultimate, the best payout for a person experiencing like a narrative was that. And I thought it was a shame with hearing this story because one, because this is a smart, creative woman who was doing this, who felt like she needed to do it and was like gonna compromise herself. It felt like to, appease some people. And I didn't know if it was like school issue stuff or whatever, but that the other people involved had they didn't have much exposure, I guess, to stories like this. Like, I mean, that's life. It's so crazy to me that they, how many films or novels or plays or, play out, where the hero loses, so much good art. The best stuff probably comes from people losing.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I mean, and like we said very early on, like all this shit is subjective, but I think it's a shame to limit what can and can't be told. And like in this situation where it is, it's a student film, so then it's some sort of like kind of corporate-esque top-down situation. We've had some complaints, and now you're cornering the artist into like, all right, well, I have to change my script if I want to make it under these circumstances. And that was one of the reasons, like, even when I was in film school, I fucking never did anything through the school.
Yeah.
And like they kind of give you two paths to finish that major. Is the other path, one path is the one most film students want, and that's the more hands-on, you're taking the production classes and making student films.
Yep.
And then the other path is the one where you're watching a lot of films and you're writing essays on them. And I hate that second one.
But that's the path you went, right?
That's the path I went because I was like, I would much rather spend my time and resources making my own shit where there is no top-down sort of thing.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's no way I'm going to make the shit
no
I
one
want.
Stopping you.
Yeah, right. There's no, and also like the process of those classes. There's like multiple people get to submit a script in a class, and then it's up to the professor to pick which script gets made. I'm like, I know fucking for a fact my script's never going to get picked. Yeah. I know for a fact if I'm writing the shit I want to write, they're going to be like, hell no, are you mad? Imagine me submitting Chris Spike's story.
Okay, and then during the abortion, the doctor sticks a handgun.
Yeah, Zygote would never get made. Doggo Natal definitely wouldn't get made. I wouldn't be able to explain that to someone.
Exactly. All the male nudity.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that one scene could get made.